Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Melissa with Enchanted Emerald bringing you a reading for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for love for July 20th through July 27th, 2026. And out of the Light Seers Tarot, we have the World card, the Six of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. So I feel like this energy could feel a little bit awkward for you, and I feel like this is a bit of an inconvenience for you, right? I think it's come out to be a little bit of a slow start with this person, but this love feels like it's a bit unconventional. So you're really enthusiastic, I think, overall, tapping into that. You're excited to kind of see where everything goes. You're excited to tell everybody about this. But just be mindful that as you work through that, there is a potential for you to become a little bit more fixated on that. And you can kind of be in a space where you may feel as though you have some sort of desire to overlook qualities that may not necessarily be as appealing to you. So you have this like experience where you may have this lapse of judgment of some sort, right? So because we know that love is blind, and so I feel like this connection that you're feeling, it's more of a soul-based connection, and I'm feeling as though it's really not so much of an emphasis on the physical attraction or the physical connection. So it started out as something that felt deep. You felt good around each other, you loved each other's energy, right? And I feel like as a result of all of this culminating, it kind of leaves you in a space where you have a potential to experience some sort of a blind spot about this person, where you can begin to rationalize some of the red flags that are coming up. So just be mindful of that as you look through things. And if you have support people or friends that are kind of pointing some things out to you, try to be as open to hearing that as possible, because they really do have your best interest at heart. But I feel like this could just be basic, where neither of you really agree or are as compatible in terms of long-term goals, lifelong goals, and or maybe they're a little bit more emotionally unavailable than you'd like, but you're feeling as though this could work out over time if you're patient with them, right? Some sort of a I can fix that, or we can overcome that energy that comes in with that. I think ultimately you're wanting to leave the door open. You're wanting to see where this goes. And I think that it's something that you're choosing to do, right? Because I think you're very curious about this. I feel like there's a very inquisitive energy around this. Maybe you haven't always had a connection in this way. And so you're very vulnerable in that you want to experience that, and you're very open to that. And so you would like to see where it goes. I think this person really captivates you. And there's an innocence about it, honestly. Overall, I feel like there's a pure intentions on both parts, and I don't feel as though there's too much of a hidden agenda in terms of trying to change one another. You know, I feel like you're accepting, you both are accepting each other for where you're at. But I think, you know, if I said that this would be something that would be stable in the long run, I would have to say that I wouldn't agree with that statement. I think that there's a potential here for you to feel like you're on rocky ground or unsteady ground or uneven footing, right? Where you're feeling a little bit unstable. You could be feeling a little bit unstable as you enter this, and just about allowing it to happen or unfold as you desire. But there is a potential to long-term to kind of leave you in that space feeling some sort of an emotional shock, or reeling from an emotional shock, as you come to the conclusion that, man, this isn't going to work. Maybe one party wants children and the other doesn't, right? So we have to kind of look at all of these things overall. But, you know, instead of trying to control it with logic, you're just wanting to move forward. And I think that that's a great energy to be open to love and to allow that. But just be mindful, because I think that sometimes you can lose yourself in situations like this, and it can really disrupt your peace, because I feel as though there is a missing puzzle piece. You may not necessarily see everything as it is, okay? I think there's a lot of raw emotion, and I think that you've been through a lot in love, and you may even consider yourself unlucky in love. And this has opened you wide up, right, with this unconventional love, because you feel safe in pursuing that, because there is a way for you to maintain your individuality through all of that, and not necessarily like follow the typical rules of what a relationship looks like. So that's what it means when it's unconventional, right? So it can be defined more on how you and this person agree that it should be defined. Maybe the roles are reversed, right? Like where one is like a stay-at-home partner. It's not the traditional balance of things, right? I do feel like there is definitely an imbalance of some sort in this, but maybe you could have agreed that this is going to remain strictly platonic, but you guys really enjoy each other's company and you're going to define it as a relationship, right? There's a lot of different things when we talk about what an unconventional love looks like, and I think that that's more a personal thing. So, but I think that it can really look appealing to you as a result of you just wanting to be able to maintain that sense of peace with maintaining who you are at a greater depth than if you were in a traditional relationship of sorts. And so you can find that others in your support systems, there might be a lot of scrutiny that's coming in for you in as a result of all of this. So just be mindful of that. I think that even if it looks appealing to you, for whatever reason that is, it could be defined by how you experienced love in the past, experiencing certain love in the past, how you were shown love, how you appreciated being shown love, right? And I think that in the past, perhaps maybe partners weren't quite as emotionally available for you, and they could have felt a little bit cool or casual or distant. And so you might find that this is more an appealing dynamic for you to feel safe, right? And I think ultimately, if you were thinking of traditional roles, traditional relationships, seeking a partner that wasn't quite as cool and distant, but really wanted that connection, that deep connection, and being there for you in a big way, I think that may scare you, or it may even make you feel like that's boring, right? Like that's not as exciting as is almost having to chase or work hard in that way, because it's nothing that interests you. But I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense. But you could have a fear of just being open and vulnerable in that way, and so that leads you to try to take a safe route this way. So just be mindful, because I think that overall there is a sense that there is some sort of like underhanded activity happening, and I think it's particularly in regards to the financials. So maybe one person that's staying at home, the other is the main source of income. That has a potential to be weaponized within disagreements, right? Where, well, I'm the one that makes the money. So then you don't necessarily get as much of a say as to how that money gets spent or how it gets allocated toward things. So, or maybe this person is hiding some of that money. You don't know exactly how much they're making. Or maybe this person may have some debts you don't necessarily know everything about. But ultimately, I feel like the imbalance comes because it leaves one feeling more dependent on the other. So just be mindful to make sure that you are keeping open communication, particularly about finances. So I hope this helps you, and I wish you all the best, Sagittarius. As always, if you appreciate this reading, I'd love for you to leave me a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments how things are working out for you. I'd love to hear it. As always, I will be back with another read for you guys again soon. Thank you so much. Take care.